Flies and humans are not as different as they might seem at first. They've got two eyes, they've got limbs on both sides, they have a heart, a liver, lungs, kidneys. They pretty much have what we have. So with colorectal cancer, they have a gut. We aim the cancer genes at the fly gut. They get gut tumors just like us. So they're not exactly us. To me, they're the next best thing, especially because we can move quickly at the speed of a patient. So for me, they're pretty magical.
In Behind the Science, we tell the story of how innovation and infrastructure combine in Europe's leading science clusters. We understand that the places where research occurs are as critical as the research itself, which is why we reach out to the rock star scientists to grasp not just what they do, but why they do it. Become a part of this story as we take a look behind the science.
I'm Ross Cagan. I am the Regius Professor of Precision Medicine here at University of Glasgow. Despite my fabulous Glasgow accent, I'm actually from the United States. I came here 5 years ago to bring a team and an unusual effort to develop therapies for cancer and for rare genetic diseases. I come here with my wife, who's head of cancer genomics here in Scotland, and we've been here for 5 years. We work primarily on cancer, and more recently also on rare genetic diseases. And basically, we ask a simple question, which is, why is it that we keep curing all our preclinical models, so flies, cells in a dish, but doesn't seem to work so well in people? So that's what we focus on. And so we build better models, and we build better drugs, and we run clinical trials.
What do you enjoy most about your work?
Oh, I enjoy a lot about my work. Probably what I enjoy the most, and it's one of the reasons I came here to Glasgow, I love working with all sorts of different people who have different expertise that I don't fully understand, and creating a team of different sorts of people pulling in one direction to solve a problem like cancer. The first question on the table is, can we make better models? And I grew up as a fly guy, which means I work on something called Drosophila, fruit flies. And basically what we do is when a patient has cancer, say colorectal cancer, for example, one of our specialties, we sequence their DNA, so we examine their DNA, and based on that, we build for each patient their own personalized fly avatar, which is that fly is the patient. So all the mutations that drive the tumor, they all go into the fly. If the patient's diabetic, the fly becomes diabetic. We feed it a high sugar diet. All these sorts of things. And then once we capture all that, we grow up hundreds of thousands of them, and we grow them, we screen them through drug libraries, and we create unique 2 to 3 drug cocktails for each patient. So these are really unique, they're bespoke for each patient. And we've had some success actually with this, and some failures, but some success. And we're trying to understand, why is it sometimes this works? When it doesn't work, why? When it does work, can we use that for other patients, and so on. So that's one side of the ledger, which is building better models. And we go everywhere from flies all the way through taking human tissue and building what we call human assembloids, which is basically human in a dish, which I love. And so we're getting better and better at building this human in a dish. And then the other side of the ledger, building better therapeutics so that we can treat these models. We're working with Lee Cronin here, and we're building something we call a chemputer combined with chemical evolution. So I have to come up with a better name. And basically it is drug development in a box. So the models go in the box, automated chemistry, so robots go in the box, you push the button, and what comes out the other side is a new drug that is designed basically as perfectly as possible for that model. And our goal is to then take that into clinics.
So why are flies so useful for this?
They're not traditionally used for developing treatments, so that was, I guess, our pioneering work. But they're magical in that you can create therapies that address the whole body. Now, a whole fly body, but flies and us and humans are not as different as they might seem at first glance. So if you just think a little bit differently, they've got two eyes, they've got limbs on both sides, they have a heart, a liver, lungs, kidneys. They pretty much have what we have. So with colorectal cancer, they have a gut. We aim the cancer genes at the fly gut. They get gut tumors just like us. So they're not exactly us. It would be unethical to directly create models right in people. So to me, they're the next best thing, especially because we can move quickly at the speed of a patient. So for me, they're pretty magical. And every fly is identical. So we get to try drugs over and over and over again to make sure what we're treating with the patient with is the best possible that we can get from this model system.
So what is your relationship to the living lab?
Yeah, so I am the academic lead of the Living Lab. This is really an interesting project. It comes from the UKRI, from the UK government. It is a large effort to build out healthcare and biotech here in Glasgow. So there's a real vision here to bring Glasgow to become a leader in the 21st century in biotech, which I fully expect that we will be there soon. And it has an outreach program, which is outreaching into the community to help improve healthcare. It also has a science part, which I'm probably most involved in. And basically, we are building out an already existing structure here in Glasgow to make it easier for research that starts in the laboratories to move all the way through to the patient. And there's been an enormous effort over the last 5 years to do this. It is really implementing a vision of a number of people here to bring together the university and the hospital and the community and the government and the NHS and getting everybody pulling in one direction to really pull Glasgow into a new era.
How is it going so far? I mean, where have you gotten so far with your field and with your research?
So first of all, using our magical flies, we did help identify a drug for a rare but deadly thyroid cancer, medullary thyroid cancer. We worked with AstraZeneca. We identified the drug in 2005, and it was approved by 2011 as the first approved drug for that. So that's a win. In our clinical trial, which started in New York and is now in a company down in London, Vivan, we treated, unfortunately, a small number of patients. We had some real successes with patients that had failed everything. So, if you've come to a fly trial, you're in trouble. And so we had really surprising success. Unfortunately, that trial got shut down due to COVID, which breaks my heart. And then I moved here and brought the team here. So some successes with that. And we're hoping to open more trials here in Glasgow, which is really a pretty spectacular place to do this sort of work, and is why we moved here.
So what makes Glasgow a great place to do this?
Yeah, so the cancer group here, I hope people here in Glasgow realize it is truly one of the best in the world. It is a step up from a place that was itself pretty amazing that I came from. Also, people here actually work very closely together. And so what we do is a little bit odd and requires us to work with clinicians out of the hospital. So I know lots of them here. It's very easy to know and meet them because their offices are right in this building, in some cases right next to me, my office. It's easy to work with all the sort of structures you need, the tissue banks and so on. Everybody here is pulling in one direction. Glasgow is pretty famous for doing this, and it's actually the case. So my ability to get to the clinics here is just better.
So did you find Glasgow, or did Glasgow find you?
In 2016, there was a new royal position, the Regius Professor of Precision Medicine. It's the latest Regius position. They asked if I would be interested in it, also if I would be interested in taking a donation from Annie McNabb and opening a new cancer center here. So the McNabb Center for Cancer Innovation, which I love, is right here. And so it was just an opportunity to step up my game here.
What has been the most surprising breakthrough that you've had so far?
I think the thing that it has taught us is there is this concept of precision medicine. And remember, I'm Regius Professor of Precision Medicine, okay? And what that has come to mean is one drug, one target, meaning one protein. This drug binds that protein, and I try to stop the tumor. And that protein's important to make the tumor go. So if I stop that protein, we're all good. This hasn't gone well because the tumor just wires around it, all right? And I think what we've learned from this clinical trial and then the knock-on work from it is that complicated problems require complicated solutions. Drug cocktails work better than a drug. In the drugs that we're building with this computer technology, these are not precision drugs in the sense that they hit one target. These are drugs that hit many targets, and they're tuned just right to the whole body. So it's a completely different way of looking at the problem. Instead of trying to boil the problem down, we're embracing the complexity and saying, all right, fine, it's complicated. We'll just come up with a complicated solution. So when we develop something that works in the flies, we don't usually know why it's working at first. It just works. The fly was dead from cancer and now it's not. And then we dig in and say, all right, like, what is this? And it turns out it hits 10 different things and somehow magically together they work.
If we look ahead, Ross, what's next for your research?
So imagine that you are in a small village somewhere and you don't have access necessarily to the best drugs, but you have one of these boxes and we can figure out for you what you need. Then we would just send the instructions and that box would create the drug that you require to treat the patient. That would be amazing, okay? And that sort of all the way up to where we live, imagine instead of requiring $50 to $100 million to create a lead drug that then literally 95% of the time will fail in clinics for cancer, and imagine instead of 50 million, it would cost you a few thousand. You would do it instead of in 10 to 15 years, you could do it in 5 weeks. And you could get on with the clinical trials with something that we think will work better. So that's the other vision. So the high end, get things that finally actually work in a whole body, in a person, but at the same time, make them more available to people around the planet by just rationalizing the whole process. Yeah, that's the dream.
Thanks for watching Behind the Science, as we've explored the power of research, collaboration, and proximity in driving world-changing innovations.